What's going on, everybody? Griffin here, and today we're going to be doing the FRAGPUNK first impressions, and also we're going to be doing the survey. Let's head over and let's talk about it. So we are going to be doing the FRAGPUNK survey. I've got the survey pulled up. We're going to fill it out. We're going to talk about the answers and kind of give my first impressions of FRAGPUNK as a whole. So preferred language is definitely going to be English. I do not have my FRAGPUNK ID. I think I can go back and do this at some point in the future. So if I can, I will. What do you think of this game so far? I'm going to put this at a 3.5. leaning on a 4, and I know that I can't put it as a 3.5, so I'm just going to put it as a 3 for right now. Please select up to 3 positive aspects of the game you experienced this session. So we have quite a few choices here: learning curve, Lancers gameplay, social media, match pace, technical aspects, customization, game modes, map navigation, match balance, shard cards, Lancer personality, weapon shooting and accuracy, no. Matchmaking speed is not bad. I'm going to go with the learning curve, the Lancer's gameplay itself, and I'm going to go with the shard cards. I think that that's super cool. Please explain your answers above. So for my explanation for the answers above, there seems to be a steep learning curve for players that have no experience playing this type of game, but the ease of access for newer players seems fairly low overall, which means that newer players that are familiar with FPS games can come into it because there's a ease of access for that. But the mechanics, the way that the game plays, and the flow of the matches does have a pretty steep learning curve, especially if you're not familiar with that type of gaming experience. The Lancers are all varied and provide, for the most part, very unique abilities and play differently from one another, although there are several Lancers that can turn invisible / teleport. So you've got 2 or 3 Lancers that basically do the same thing, in different ways, but they basically do the same thing. The shard card system is a really unique and interesting aspect of the game that I very much enjoy. I wish that some of the cards weren't as impactful to the overall match experience, giving one team an easy win, but overall I do enjoy this system. Please select up to 3 negative aspects of the game you experienced this season. So the negative aspects that I'm going to go with is the progression system, technical aspects, and weapon shooting and accuracy. So tying the progression system for the battle pass to challenges creates tedious, grindy experience for casual players of the game and could turn some players away from spending money on this game. For the technical aspects, the ping for the matches is incredibly high for a high-risk, high-reward skilled shooter. If you want this game to be taken seriously as a competitive game, you have to figure out a better way of reducing ping. And for weapon shooting and accuracy, the accuracy for all the weapons on mouse and keyboard is absolutely horrible, especially since the recoil seems to be tied directly to your FPS within the game, which could cause the game to crash. Aim assist seems to give an amazing benefit that mouse and key players do not have access to. And I'll get into that more in just a little bit. How interested are you in playing the game during the next public test when it is released? I'm going to give it a 4. What kind of shooter player are you? So the following questions are about your gaming habits. Have you filled out this portion of the survey before? Oh, okay. On average, how many hours a week do you spend playing FPS games? I would say like 1 to 5. It depends on what the game is and what I'm into, but right now it's about 1 to 5 hours. So which of the following games have you played in the last 6 months? Overwatch 2, XDefiant Finals, COD, Rogue Company, Marvel Rivals. How often do you play competitive modes ranked in FPS games? Sometimes. What is most important to you when playing team-based FPS games? For me, what is most important is competing with other players, making strategic decisions, and being on a team coordinating with teammates. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to submit this. So for FRAGPUNK overall, it has been a very enjoyable experience with the closed beta. I enjoyed the alpha, and I thought it was one of the best alphas that I've ever played in my entire life. The polish was good. The game itself ran fairly smooth. There was a lot going on. It didn't feel like anything was missing from the game. Of course, other than the obvious, right? You know, ranked, things like other game modes, more shard cards, more characters, more maps, things like that. The alpha felt really good. The beta comes out. The beta feels very much like the alpha, but it is a little bit more... It does feel a little bit different whenever you play it. I'm not sure exactly what they did with how the recoil of the weapons themselves work between the alpha and the beta test, but it does feel different. And it could just be me. It could just be my own little lizard brain, you know, trying to pick things apart. But to me, that does feel different. And honestly, there's a couple of drawbacks that I see with FRAGPUNK. First, one of the biggest drawbacks is you're going to have a you know, crossplay-esque game, which, you know, that's a whole different topic that we'll get into. But you're going to have a crossplay-esque game where people are going to be playing on mouse and keyboard and controller. And that whole debate on should aim assist be this strong, should mouse and key be able to do this, that, and the other, is a debate that's been going on and will continue to go on for the foreseeable future. But the reality is, if you're going to allow people to play with controller and mouse and keyboard, especially in competitive, which I'm not sure if it's in ranked or not, but if it's going to be in ranked and it's going to be competitive, then you can't expect mouse and keyboard players to be happy about the fact that the recoil within the game for the weapons, the majority of the weapons, is absolutely random and makes no sense whatsoever. But whenever you're spectating someone that's playing on controller, you can see that there's little to no recoil whatsoever, especially whenever they're aiming on a target. Now, I know that, you know, you can control recoil on a mouse and keyboard just like you can control recoil on a controller. I get that. I completely understand that. And that's part of the skill gap, right? Some people are really good at it. Some people aren't. But the fact of the matter is, I shouldn't have to go in there and put my FPS on unlimited, causing several game crashes in the process, to be able to maintain a somewhat consistent accuracy while playing the game. That is the only way that I was able to maintain any type of consistent accuracy whenever I'm ADSing the weapons in FRAGPUNK. And I'm not sure why it's tied to your frames per second. I know that whenever you have a higher FPS, it is easier to do certain things, but it shouldn't affect your aim and it shouldn't affect your accuracy of your weapons and the recoil pattern of those weapons. That just shouldn't be happening. So that's something that they absolutely need to take a look at and absolutely figure out what is going on with it. As far as the ping itself, I've been in games where my ping has been reasonable at 40, 45 to 50, but I've seen people on my team and the enemy team where their ping is over 100. I've never seen anybody's ping lower than like 40 or 42. I'm not saying that I wasn't in games with people with lower ping, but I didn't notice people's ping being lower than that. And when you're going to have like a high skill, you know, FPS, you know, tactical shooter where your bullet placement, your positioning absolutely matters, you can't have ping that's just ungodly high. I know that Counter-Strike has been fighting the ping issues for years now, and I'm pretty sure that Valorant has a pretty good way of dealing with ping overall. But if FRAGPUNK wants to be taken seriously as a competitive shooter and wants to grow in the competitive scene, you have to do something about the ping itself, because people, just your normal average players, are not going to deal with that, and they're not going to put up with that type of ping. And, you know, especially whenever you get one headshot and it pretty much kills someone, or you get a body shot with a sniper rifle and it kills someone, which is absolutely insane in my opinion. As far as the overall balance of the game didn't feel too bad. It feels like that they nerfed their version of the MP5 quite a bit and almost made it, at least in my opinion, not usable. The other submachine gun, the Vector, you know, copy, is way better in a lot of different ways than the MP5 itself. And both of the assault rifles and the light machine guns are both better, you know, at range, accuracy, the whole 9 yards, than the MP5. So the weapons need to be balanced out just a little bit. The DMRs are absolutely insane. They're basically sniper rifles. I mean, you can almost one-tap any character in the game with the DMRs. And honestly, that shouldn't be happening. You have a sniper rifle in the game. If you want to add more sniper rifles and more variations of sniper rifles, and you want to keep the one-hit kill at the chest and above, or at the waist and above, with the sniper rifles, then just add more sniper rifles and do something different with DMRs. Give it better hip fire, give it, you know, less flinch, less recoil, you know, whatever you want to do with it. But it shouldn't be high powered, you know, high accuracy, highly mobile sniper rifle that has a larger clip. That just shouldn't be it. So the weapon balance leaves a lot to be desired. I do think it's interesting how they have the grenades. You know, other than the abilities that the characters have, the grenades are basically take the slots of pistols. So that's a very interesting way of balancing all of that stuff out. The shard card system is great. I love the shard card system, but it's so random. And there's almost no counterplay whenever you get dealt the cards and they get dealt the cards. And 9 times out of 10, your team or the enemy team will just get one of those cards that is almost going to guarantee your team or their team a victory. And that doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great at all. And to me, it seems like you need to associate a rarity level and like assign more shards needed to be able to power some of these more powerful cards, and also guarantee that whenever those power cards come up, that the enemy team has a way of countering those with their own card that is a direct counter for that card. And you can make it a high level card. You know, you can make it a high shard cost card to be able to counteract that. But to me, a lot of those cards, you know, do provide some very interesting and unique benefits to the game that doesn't impact the overall gameplay. But there are a couple that are just absolutely insane and that immediately turns the tide of the game in that team's favor. The cards that change the map with weather effects or causes the foliage to grow or the rain to happen kills my FPS. And I'm pretty sure that that is what causes my game to crash 9 times out of 10. So they need to go in there and take a look at those effects and maybe tone them down a little bit or do something a little bit different so that those effects don't affect, you know, players' PCs and things like that to such an extent. Especially the foliage card where you've got grass and stuff all over the place. I can't see anything through the grass at all. I don't know how people do. And whenever I'm walking around, just looking around, it's just dropping my FPS by 50, 70 to 100 FPS whenever I'm using it. It's absolutely insane. And they need to take a look at doing something a little bit different there. The Lancers are cool. The Lancers seem to be very well balanced. It seems like to me, Hollow Point had been nerfed just a little bit. You know, her sniper rifle does seem to be very impactful to the game overall, but it seems like there's a little bit more charge time to be able to get the most out of her shots. And to me, that was a change for the better. The two new characters, I think Sonar is her name, is the better of the two characters in my opinion. The spider, the dude with the spider, the chick with the spider, whatever. Okay character, not my favorite character, not my favorite play style by any means, but is a cool character. There's a lot of characters that can teleport. There's a lot of characters that can like go invisible, things like that. They may need to look at providing different variations of those abilities to break up the monotony, because whenever you have two characters that basically do the same thing to more or less degree, you know, you have one that can basically turn into a ball, teleport around the map, that lasts longer and can see enemies when you use it. Then you have another character that can turn into a nothing, you know, a ball of nothing, and can move around the map, but you can't see whether there's any Lancers, and it's a shorter duration. It's the same ability. One is obviously better than the other, the one that lasts longer and you can see the enemies when you're using it, whereas the other one, you put yourself in danger 9 times out of 10. So they need to look at reworking a couple of the abilities that some of the Lancers have. The main thing, in my opinion, that is going to kill this game is the fact that it is only available on Xbox and PC. You have the larger majority of the world that owns a PS5. You have probably 60%. If you look at PC, Xbox, and PlayStation owners, I would say that PlayStation outnumbers Xbox and PC. I think it's about a 60% market share that they have. You're not going to release this game on PlayStation, especially when Valorant has been released on consoles. You're already dooming yourself to fail, in my opinion. And that's a shame because I love the game and I want to play it with my friends. But this is a completely unbiased conversation here. You can't expect the game to do well. You can't expect the the PC player base to gravitate towards a game where they're going to be playing with and against controller players, and it's not going to be opened up to everyone. You're not going to be able to garner enough faith in the player base to be able to do something like that. The reason that this game should exist, the reason that this game would be popular, it's a more casual, laid-back, more random version of CSGO and Valorant. But whenever you're cutting out the majority of the player base by not offering it to be available on PlayStation, then you're basically killing yourself DOA. It's going to be dead on arrival. You're going to have a couple of people that's going to be into it. You're going to garner a pretty solid player base, but you're not going to be able to live up to Valorant or CSGO in any respectable measure. And your console players are going to get tired of playing against mouse and keyboard players, and vice versa. In order to curb this, you're going to have to open it up for everybody and then take the necessary steps to be able to balance that game so that it is actually properly balanced for mouse and keyboard and for controller players, so that they can play with and against each other without feeling like one or the other has any type of advantage. But that's what I think about FRAGPUNK. Overall, it's been a very fun and enjoyable experience. I do hope to play more of it in the future, and I'm very excited to see what this game looks like upon full release. But I think with what I've said, there's enough negatives with this game to not get your average casual gamer excited about playing something where you can get one shot with a sniper from the waist above and you're down for the count, that has 125 damage to headshots regardless of whatever weapon you're using, regardless of range. Especially with the ping being as high as it is, you've got mouse and keyboard and controller players playing with and against each other, and then you also are losing the majority of a player base by not including PlayStation into it. It's not going to look good when the game full releases, in my opinion, but I'm enjoying it and I'm going to keep playing it. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you played FRAGPUNK, and what is your thoughts and experiences playing the game? Do you think that it is doomed to fail and that it is DOA because it's not going to be released on PlayStation? Or do you think that I'm just a stupid person that has these ungodly crazy opinions because PlayStation doesn't have as large of a player base as every other console and PC put together? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, be sure to check the description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube, so if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by, say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys. The SMGs seem very weak. Maybe it's just me. Yeah, this is a new map tags.
Where am I hearing them, bro? It's driving me crazy.
They're above you.
Oh, he's got a rocket launcher.
Yeah, he does. He's looking for you.